What's going on, everybody? Jake here with Bandit Fitness Equipment, and today we're talking about the Hoist Mi7, a pairing of a Smith machine, functional trainer, all built into one single package. Let's start first with the Smith machine. That's a big portion of this whole system because you can get this machine as 3 separate units. You can get it as a Smith, a functional, or in this case, you can get it as one full assembly. But let's start back here. You're gonna have a full Smith machine at the back of the unit. So you're gonna have a lot of room for it, a lot of room in width. But the difference on this Smith machine is that it's not just going to give you vertical travel, it also will give you horizontal travel, which basically means it will give a more barbell-like feel. Rather than having something that's just directly vertical or on like a 7-degree angle, this will give you up and down, but also back and forth, which is really good. That means that if you're coming from more traditional barbell-focused workouts, this will be a little bit of an easier transition for you. So you're gonna have 9 bar catches on the front as well as the back, so you can lock it back into place when you're done. And you have the addition of safety spotters on each side. That's gonna be an additional level of safety. In case you're working out by yourself, you can't get it to the catches, you can still drop it down. So you still have a lot of the benefits of a Smith machine with a little bit more versatility built in. One note that I want to point out here, and this is a detail I'm surprised that Hoist missed, is that this safety bar is just metal. There's no covering or coating on top. I would like to see in the future then maybe add some sort of a UHMW plastic or rubber coating just to protect your Smith bar in case it comes into contact. The bar they used on the Smith machine honestly is really good. It's got a really good knurl, it's got notches on it, so if you're coming from a more traditional barbell, this is gonna be a pretty smooth transition. So all the movements, bench, deadlift, squat, I think it's gonna work really well. The only little nitpick is that the internals in here, it's not really a bearing, so there's not a lot of spin that goes into it. But for most movements, that's not really gonna be a big factor. A final note on the Smith machine in the back is you have a lot of really good width. It's about 57 inches from end to end, so you don't really feel like you're enclosed here. The only drawback is that means you can't really use a regular barbell. So 57 inches is pretty wide. Most barbell shafts are not gonna have that. Barbell shaft's gonna be maybe like 52. So as you can see here, I've got a 7-foot bar and I can't really fit the whole thing in. I've got one side in, but the other side I'm on the sleeve. It's not really designed to do that, so again, it's a minor thing, but it's just something to note. So let's move to the front of the machine where we're gonna have our functional trainer. It's gonna come standard with dual 150-pound weight stacks, upgradable to dual 200-pound weight stacks. But the functional trainer attached to the system or by itself, I think offers a lot of really cool features that you don't see on a lot of other functionals. So the first unique thing about the Hoist Mi7 and how they've designed it is with their uprights. Now, the traditional way that you would do an upright on a functional is you have a stationary column to the top, and then you have your pulleys that are on a swivel. The way Hoist does it is the pulleys are stationary, but the column is on a full 360 swivel. This means that as you're going through your movements, you don't really have any restriction on where the pulleys can go. You don't have any worry about anything binding up. And it also allows you to have more people on this at once without getting in each other's hair. You could have someone all the way out to the side doing a movement, same thing on the other side, someone in the middle doing pull-ups, and then someone even in the back on the Smith machine. I don't know why you would need 4 people on this at once, but if you're ever in that situation, you can make sure you're all in your own separate stations. One unique feature they've done also is how you add your attachments. Normally you'd have a carabiner, like a little snap link, but anything on you want. The way they have is with this system in here, all of their attachments have a D-ring. And the reason for it is so you can clip it like that, so you can do one-handed. It's a cool thing to have. I don't think it's really necessary, but it's not gonna hurt anything. If anything, it's a little satisfying. Another cool thing that Hoist has done to separate themselves with the Mi7 is how they've actually incorporated their pull-up system. So the way this is gonna work is kind of how you'd expect with a lot of pull-up stations, but there's more options here in terms of the grips and the access to the grips. So you're gonna have your standard, your overhand, you're gonna have your neutral, even pull-up grips on the rock climbing, which is pretty cool. But the big feature that's gonna be really different is the way these systems are going to flip out on both sides. That is going to allow you to have now a narrow grip for neutral, and then when you don't need them, you can just put them back out there. So that way they're not getting in the way when you're doing additional movements. So we've talked about the Smith machine and the back of the Mi7 as well as the functional on the front, but there's one last feature that I want to point out that's kind of unique to this, and that is the dip station. So you can actually roll both of these sides down from the middle of the machine, and you now have a wide as well as a narrow dip station. Now this is a small feature, but to me it really helps elevate this machine beyond the competition. Also on the dip attachment, you can add the stabilizer pad, which comes standard with the Mi7. This allows you to have an adjustable pad, again, a little bit lower, a little bit higher. So if you're using it in conjunction with the cables, it gives you a lot more support. So the Mi7 has a lot of really cool features on the machine itself, but it has one more that you can actually work with. And that's this pretty cool tablet bracket. You can put your own tablet inside, and it has its own app with a lot of different features. To tell you more about that, let's go to Max.
Hoist makes an iOS and Android tablet application that's a very simple, useful little utility to be able to learn a little bit more about how to use your specific Hoist machine. They even give you a nice little convenient mounting point for your tablet while you're using the machine. So to start with, you'll get this muscle diagram, or you can choose a category of muscles over on the left-hand side. From there, all you need to do is select the movement you're looking to accomplish, and you'll see photos of the beginning and ending of the movement on your exact machine, which is really nice and helpful. If you need a little more instruction, Hoist also includes a really convenient set of videos in the app as well. So all you do is tap the three dots up at the top right corner, go down to video, and once it's downloaded, it's a very high-res, high-quality version of the workout movement, but also the setup of the workout movement, which can be very useful for beginners or people who are not all that familiar with their new Hoist machine. Hoist has also included some niceties like a workout log, a weight and measurement tracker, as well as some preset workouts in the app that are just a good place to get started. There are apps on the App Store that do these things a little bit better, but it's really nice to have this because it's specific to your machine. There's more to talk about. There's certainly a lot more to this app, but basically what you need to know is that it's a very useful tool to get familiarized with the Hoist home gym system, especially if you're more of a beginner. And that's about all there is to talk about right now. Now back to Jake.
So the Hoist Mi7 is a really cool premium product. If you're in the market for something like this, I would definitely put it in your consideration. And as always, if you have the ability, make sure you can find a place where you can test this out. We have this on display at our showroom in Largo, Florida, if you want to stop by and see it. And if you have any questions about the Mi7, leave a comment below. We'll be sure to answer all that we see. Like, subscribe, and as always, we'll see you next time.
Take one.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Jake here with Bandit Fitness Equipment, and today we're talking about the Hoist Mi7. I almost wanted to say Mi7. See? There it is. That's in my mind.
Well, is it Mi7?
No, it's Mi7.
Is it? You think so?
It sounds better as Mi7.
I mean, I don't know.
Like, it doesn't matter what you call it, as long as we know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they wrote it on the thing, so we know. This would make a good outro.